all like Latin. What? But that's us. We was all in there together. Don't let them fool you. The genetics don't lie. All right? So, now that we know who the real Indians was, and as you can see, they didn't give us none of our shit. All the people that's living on our shit, like they said, they called them $5 Indians. That's true. That's true. I heard Dr. Phil Valentine call them $5 Indians. I like that term. I like that term. Heard Dan Calloway call them that too. I like that term. Because that's really what they is. They not us. We the Indians. Y'all ain't gave her shit. Y'all got us thinking y'all taught us in school that y'all killed all the Indians off and brought us over here after y'all killed the Indians off. Which, if you think about it, that don't even make sense. Who the fuck finna go? Listen, if they wanted slaves, if Europe wanted, think about this, y'all. They teach you in school that Europe wanted slaves, right? Why would they kill off the Indians if they wanted slaves? You already got slaves. Why not just kill off the Indians that's resistant and enslave them Indians right there and make them your slaves? Who the fuck finna go to war with a whole land of Indians, have to kill off all these Indians, then gotta go back overseas and go to war with Africans to get these Africans to put them on ships to bring them back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The lies in now. The lies in now. You hear me? For real though. The lies in now. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the university. We had 2,500 live viewers. But yeah though. The bullshit ends now. Who the fuck would do that? And we didn't know in school, y'all. We wasn't paying attention. That shit was boring because they was our soul. Once again, your soul knows all truths. Remember that? Etheric bodies. I taught y'all this. Your soul was like, man, that's bullshit. You don't want to hear that shit. And you didn't pay attention. And then you just mark some shit down to get it right. You don't want to get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? You want to hear your mama mouth. You want to go outside. You know what I'm saying? You ain't had time for all that. You had summertime shit to go get involved in. You wasn't, you feel me? You trying to go kick it, nigga. You ain't pay attention to that shit. No, you didn't, because I didn't. We didn't. But our soul wouldn't let us. And I know y'all laughing. I can feel you laughing at home. That's how powerful I can feel you laughing. I can feel y'all laughing like y'all is crazy. Look, honestly, this is the truth. You hear me? Oh, no, we getting deep. We finna get, nigga, we ain't scratched the surface. I gotta let niggas know who the Indians is first. Niggas gotta know they the Indians first before we can even get into Chief Chicago. Oh, yeah, we finna get gangster. We finna get real shit. Gonna make a lot of sense right now tonight. This is hitting history, hitting gemstones. You get what I'm saying? We the stone that the building refused, y'all. You hear me? They refused us. Now everything's smacking them in their face because it's like we rising, the awakening. That beast waking, them titans waking up inside of us. Especially if you ain't go get vaccinated. Them titans boiling inside you. You wouldn't have got vaccinated. You can't rise. You can't do shit but bubble. So all you can do is bubble like hot grease. You heat, but you gonna rise. The most rising you gonna do, you gonna rise then bubble out. Like, you hear me? You know what I'm saying? So look, now that we know we the Indians, cool. Let's get into these guys. Now that we know we the Indians. So, more lies. We never looked at like that, class. We didn't look like that. So I don't know why they lying to us like that. Okay, so this is all the land we had. We had all these tribes, right? We got all these different tribes. So us, current day African Americans or Latin Americans, which are your Puerto Ricans, and you know, you Latin Americans over here in this part of the land, all right? We were all scattered in these different tribes, okay? So when Europe was trying to conquer this part of the land from us, all right, they had to carve out the land based upon the strongest tribe. So they invaded our land, right? They invaded our land, and they scattered out the strongest tribes, all right? And what they discovered was that up in this now present-day Midwest region was a tribe called the Illinois that was very, very, very powerful. They controlled a lot of land and basically the heart of this whole little realm, because they discovered that all these tribes were working in synchronization together in a cohesive unit as one. All right. This was Europe discovered when they first invaded present day America. all these tribes was working together, communicating, and they was trying to figure out how they were doing it. So basically, they scouted out and were able to find out that the whole land was basically ran by 3 main tribes. You had the Florida Seminoles down here that was running the whole basically south. All right. You had the Illinois in the Midwest. All right. And you had a lot of Navajo. All right. Up in the West Coast area. Coming up out of present day Mexico, all up South America, all up through that Inca, all up through there, all up down here. All right. All right, that's how it was. So now this is where we get deep. All right, I want to show y'all something. Today we talking about the Illinois Confederation. All right, and the Illinois Confederation was composed of, like they tell you, the Illinois Confederation, also referred to as the Illini, were made up of 12 to 13 tribes who lived in the Mississippi River Valley. Okay? So it was composed of 12 to 13 tribes, but 12 to be exact, because you know Wikipedia going to try to spin you. They're going to try to spin you, okay? So I'm just using them for certain references, not everything. But this Illinois tribe was a very, very powerful tribe, okay? Very, very powerful tribe. All right, let me pull up the map. The Illinois controlled all of this, okay? Now, the Florida Seminoles had Florida, and they would work together with the Cherokee to control the South. But the Illinois was composed of 12 different tribes, and all of the present-day Midwest was their land. And this is hidden history. This is hidden history. This is hidden history, right? They'll never tell you this, right, in school. They'll never teach this in school. Smoke good every day. See, you get high frequencies. Learn the truth. We get high and talk about the truth in here. So, all of this was owned and ran by the Illinois Confederation all the way down to Little Rock, Arkansas. Okay? So, the Illinois Confederation, these are the states they had. It was 12 tribes. Each tribe had a state. And the crazy thing is, each state now today is named after the chief of each tribe or a tribe. Okay, so the headquarters of the Illinois Confederacy was in present-day Chicago, Illinois. That was headquarters. This is why they named the state Illinois. Okay? Present-day Chicago was the headquarters of the Illinois, which was one of the strongest tribes, and they had the biggest land. All right? They had more land than the Cherokee. Okay? Because the Cherokee had present-day Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana, and Mississippi. That's only 4 states. The Illinois had 12 states. All right? This tribe wasn't nothing to play with. This is why they called them the Fighting Illini in basketball. Hidden history. All right, we finna get deeper, though. We finna get deeper. Oh, yeah, we finna connect a lot of dots. So all of this land belonged to a powerful tribe called the Illinois that was slaughtered in these states. Every single state, they slaughtered the Illinoisian to take over this land that they now call the Midwest. This is a whole region that was of people that was slaughtered, of us, our ancestors. You see where we going with it? There's a lot of land now. Look at all them states. Remember, before they were states, that was just all land of the Illinois Confederation. 12 tribes, 12 states. Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, which is the headquarters, which is where I sit right in the center, Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio. All of this was Illinois land. Illinois Confederacy. Now, why does this matter? Because you're going to notice something. That in majority of these states is very violent. When you talking about Ohio, Cleveland, Youngstown, Columbus, Dayton, these are violent areas. Then you got Detroit, Flint, Lamb. I mean, the whole Michigan was the land. These are violent areas. Gary, Indianapolis. All right, very violent cities. Chicago, Illinois, Milwaukee, St. Louis. Little Rock, Arkansas was a part of the Illinois Confederacy. All right? You got all of Missouri, okay? You got Kansas. You're going through Nebraska to South North Dakota. Minnesota, Minneapolis is violent. All right? So some of the most violent places on the map right now, even present day, come up out of this Illinois Confederacy. All right? And the reason being is because of all of this energy that's still boiling here. All right? These people were slaughtered, killed. The Illinois was. This was their land first. Okay? And remember how you heard about those stories as a kid about ancient Indian burial grounds? Basically, this is a burial ground. When they killed our ancestors who were all a part of this Illinois Confederacy, those who, well, these are our ancestors regardless, but definitely people that were reincarnated here in these states. All right. If you were born after 1950 and you reincarnated in any of these states, you have a natural warrior spirit in you. You know why? Because you are a returner that were a part of one of these tribes during when that slaughtering took place. Now you got some souls that return and they were part of other tribes, even all the way overseas. But we just talking about the Illinois right now. So this is a spiritual concept I'm bringing to you too. All right. Anybody born after 1950 right now, because right now we are in the age of Aquarius. All souls coming back are indigo souls. Remember that, period. But for those people, those souls and spirits with carbon in their skin that were born in these states after the year 1950, all right, majority of these individuals, majority of you, although you don't remember this, have experienced past lives as part of this tribe, the Illinois. And the elites understand all this. They understand energy. They understand that we never die. So they have been harnessing a lot of this energy using negative vortexes to keep the energy circulating amongst each other. So the Illinois was one of the toughest warrior tribes that the Spanish fought against. It took them forever to get this land, just like with the Florida Seminoles. It didn't happen overnight. So all these warrior spirits, and now they are warring with each other because they have forgotten the reason they are truly here to war. This is the true secret behind the violence in like a Chicago or a Gary or a St. Louis or Cleveland, Cincinnati, Detroit, Michigan, Milwaukee. All right, places this is ancient warrior energy. It's a spiritual thing. And they are using negative vortexes to keep these young warriors killing amongst each other. All right, because all that energy is theirs in our souls. So it has to go somewhere. So they channel it to make us channel that energy toward each other. But all of this land belonged to the Illinois. All right. And I'm going to tell you where each tribe was at and where their land was today. We finna go through it. But the chief of the entire Confederacy, let's go back, the Illinois Confederation, the chief of the entire tribe, because they don't say it on Wikipedia, his name was Chicago. Okay? So the chief of the Illinois Confederation, it shows you right here, was made up of 12 to 13 tribes. There was 12 tribes, I told you to be exact. The chief of the entire tribe, the entire Confederation, his name was Chief Chicago. All right? So he led the whole war against these Spanish conquistadors, and he wasn't no punk. He wasn't no joke. Understand that the Illinois, they had all these states. They slaughtered many, up to 300,000 soldiers. They slaughtered a lot of soldiers who came to try to take over this land before they finally died. All right, before they finally gave in and couldn't hold them off any longer. Okay, so Now, I want to show you how they hid this history in Chicago, right? They named Chicago Chicago because this is the area where Chief Chicago was actually killed at. All right? Chief Chicago was actually killed right in Chicago where President Chicago is. And each tribe had land. So let me first off, let me name the tribes. Let me name the tribes and let me name their land for you, okay? Let me break it down for you all. All right? So this is the Illini tribe. I'm finna run through them. Okay, you had 12. You had the Kaskaskia. All right, the Kaskaskia, they had all of Wisconsin and present-day Milwaukee. The Kaskaskia. All right, this was a tribe. One of the tribes that was in the Illinois. Okay? You had the Cahokia. The Cahokia was in present-day St. Paul, Minneapolis. That's tribe number 2. Okay? Tribe number 3 was Chief Chicago's headquarter tribe, which was the Peoria tribe, and they were in present-day Chicago. All right? Present-day Chicago, all of that land all the way down was all of the Peoria. Okay? They were called the Peoria tribe. And they were led by Chief Blackhawk, but he was the chief of the Peoria tribe, but the chief of the whole tribe of the Illinois Confederacy, because remember they were 12 tribes deep, was Chief Chicago. All right, stay with me. Stay with me. All right, so the third tribe that we have, let's start again. The first tribe, we're going to name all 12 tribes and show you their states. I'm going to break it down to where they are today. So we got 12 tribes that made up the Illinois Confederacy. And as you see today, it's 12 states. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You see how they hide the truth in plain sight? The Midwest today is still composed of 12 states. And that's because it was 12 tribes. This is all the land. These motherfuckers ain't shit, though. They put our history right in our face, but they hide it, though. All right, they know like, okay, you would never look this deep because you already thinking Native American somebody else. Nah, this you. This your ancestors. This your ancestors. We talking 8, 9, 10 generations ago. You get what I'm saying? This is real. This is deep stuff right now. So, all right, hidden history. So in present-day Wisconsin, this was the land of the Kaskaskia Indians. All right, these were all black people, Latino black people and Latino people. All right, if you want to call them that. All right. Now, in the land, the second tribe was the Cahokia tribe. All right, they had all of Minneapolis. There's even pyramids in Illinois that they call the Cahokia pyramids to try to throw you off. All right, to try to throw you off if you ever do look. But the Cahokia land was in Minnesota. Okay, they had all of St. Paul. These are esoteric facts. I know this because, like I say, Grandmaster Teacher of the 8th Universe. I get shown these downloads to give to y'all. I'm here to help y'all remember, okay? So the third tribe was the Peoria. This was the headquarters of the entire Confederation. It was right here in Chicago. All right? And it was led by Chief Blackhawk. Okay? The Peoria tribe, present-day Chicago. All right? In all of Illinois. All right? Now, the next tribe you had was the Tamara. They had all of North Dakota. That's tribe number 4. Tribe number 5 was the Moena. They had all of South Dakota. All right? The 6th tribe of the Illini tribe. All right, they were composed of 12 tribes. The 6th tribe was the Michigami. The Michigami had all of present-day St. Louis, Missouri, all the way down to Little Rock, Arkansas. So that was all the Michigami land. That was the 6th tribe. The 7th tribe was the Chapo. All right, they had all of Topeka and Wichita, present-day Wichita, Kansas. All right, Chief Wichita was actually the chief. Wichita was the chief of the Chapo tribe, which is now present-day Kansas and all that. All right. Remember, these people that stole this land from us are not that creative. They lack souls, so they really kept the same names and just, get what I'm saying? That's what makes it so sad though. But they hid this from us though. Okay? So now, the 8th tribe was in Iowa. This was the Chinko, okay? And I'm calling this for short. You can look up the names. They're a little longer than that, but I'm breaking it down for y'all, the Chinko, okay? Iowa, Des Moines, Davenport, all up in here, present-day Iowa. That land was the land of the Chinko. Okay, then in Nebraska, you had a tribe called the Kokotano who had all of Omaha and Lincoln. All right, the Cocotano. They had all of Nebraska. All right. Now the Tim tribe was the SB McKeon, and they had all of Kansas City and Topeka. They just had Kansas. So they, out of all the tribes, they had the smallest land because they had what Kansas City and Topeka is at. That little bit of land that belonged to the SB Minkia. All right. They had that little land. The 11th tribe, which is a hidden tribe, all right, and they go by the Morrow, and I'm gonna show y'all this. I'm finna go to Wiki and show y'all these tribes too. But I'm telling it to y'all in my own words right now. Then we're gonna go to Wiki and look it up. But the Morrow, they try to hide them in history as the Morrow. When we go look at the 11 to 12 tribes of the Illini, they're gonna call them the Morrow, but it's the Potawatomi. All right. Now the reason they don't want you to know that the Potawatomi is the Morrow tribe is because the Potawatomi had all of Detroit and Indianapolis. So the Potawatomi tribe, the Potawatomi tribe, they had all of Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, all through Indianapolis. And they tried to hide them as the Morrow because they don't want you to know, people to know about this connection. Because if you connect these, the Potawatomi, the Potawatomi tribe to Indianapolis and Michigan, you could then connect them to the rest of this. All right, this is how big the Illini Confederacy was, though. Okay, and then the 12th tribe was the Shawnee. Okay, and the Shawnee is another big tribe, and the Shawnee had all of Indiana and Ohio. Okay, so that covers Cleveland, Cincinnati, Columbus, Dayton, and these 12 tribes made up the Fighting Illini as they knew them, as they became to be known later. All right. So look, let's bag it up though. Let's bag it up. Let's look at it. Let's go. Let's see. Let's look at the tribes. Let's look at the tribes. Boom. Formation. The Illinois Confederation comprised 12 separate tribes who share common language and culture. These tribes are the Kaskaskia, the Cahokia, the Peoria, the Tamara, the Moena, the Michigami, the Chapo, the Chinko, the Cocotano, the Esplaminkia, the Morrow, and the Tapo. Now look at the Morrow. They hidden as the Morrow and the Tapo, but that's really the Shawnee, okay? And that's really the Potawatomi, the Potawatomi tribe. Now let me show you why they hid them. Let's go to something. Look at this. When you put in what tribes were in Detroit, Michigan, look what comes up. Detroit occupies the contemporary and ancestral homelands of three Anishinaabe nations of the Council of Three Fires. The Ojibwe, the Ottawa, and the Potawatomi. What I tell you. Through the Treaty of Detroit. You see it? You see it. This is why they are hidden, right? As the Tamar or the Morrow. Because they don't want you to know that the Potawatomi, which was a powerful tribe, they was part of the Three Fires, were in Detroit. You see this? What tribes were in Detroit, Michigan? Now you see this, right? The Potawatomi. Now watch this. We finna put in now what tribes were in Indiana? And watch. The Potawatomi. The Potawatomi is their name, y'all. We researching this live. We're in Indiana. Watch this. If they keeping it real, it's gonna pop up. What native tribes? What I tell you? Look, what Native American tribes were in Indiana? Now we just seen the Potawatomi was in where? Detroit, right? Now check this out. Among the major tribes that lived in what is now Indiana, were the Delaware, the Kickapoo, the Miami, the Mound Builders, the Piakashaw, the Potawatomi, Shawnee. There they go, Potawatomi. All right. So they don't want people to know that the Potawatomi were in Indianapolis and Detroit, because if they know that, then they could connect that they were a part of this huge Illinois Confederation. All right. The Potawatomi had Michigan, and they were Indianapolis. And then Shawnee were in Indianapolis, Indiana too. So Shawnee had the other half of Indiana and Ohio. Now check this out. Look up what tribes were in Indiana. Shawnee, right? Now watch this. What tribes were in Ohio? I said the Shawnee, right? Now what tribes were in Ohio? What tribes were in Ohio? Up among the tribes. Look, what tribes were in Ohio? Among the tribes occupying the land in Ohio were the Shawnee. I ain't got to finish. I ain't got to finish. And look, and they in Detroit too. The Ojibwe again, there they go. When they in Detroit too? Yeah, because this whole land was the Illinois Confederation. You see what I'm saying? Hidden history. All of this is the Illinois Confederation. So now, all right, that brings me here to the Chicago fire, this great Chicago fire story that they tell people that was born and raised in Chicago, right? Now, if you from Chicago, they tell you this story about this great Chicago fire that took place. And they talk about how this lady had a cow and she knocked the lamp over and the whole Chicago caught on fire. Old Chicago, and they had to rebuild it. But in reality, that's a motherfucking lie. All right? That never happened. They say the Great Chicago Fire was a conflagration that burned in the American city of Chicago during October 8th through October 10th, 1871. Now, they teach us this story in Chicago, right? Growing up in Chicago, we heard this. I heard this story in school about the lady. She knocked the fucking lamp over. Let them tell it. All right, let's see. Let's see if they say the beginning. That the lady's supposed to knock the, I forgot her name. Here it go. Check it out. Origin. The fire is claimed to have started at about 8:30 p.m. on October 8th in or around a small barn belonging to the O'Leary family that bordered the alley behind 137 DeCoven Street. The shed next to the barn was the first building to be consumed by the fire. City officials never determined the exact cause of the blaze, but the rapid spread of the fire due to a long drought in the prior summer, strong winds from the southwest, and the rapid destruction of the water pumping system explained extensive damage of the mainly wooden city structures. There has been much speculation over the years on a single start to the fire. The most popular tale blames Miss O'Leary's cow, who allegedly knocked over a lantern. Others state that a group of men were gambling inside the barn and knocked over a lantern. All right, anywhere it go, they trying to say she knocked over a lantern and started a whole fire, right? And the whole fucking Chicago burnt down. This was before 1871. Now, they show you all these pictures saying that this is how Chicago looked it before 1871 and before the fire, all right? This is Miss O'Leary house before the fire, right? But these are all lies. They done went back and took some pictures, wrote themselves in history. None of this shit took place, all right? They did have a big fire, but the fire had nothing to do with no cows. What they did was when they killed off all the Illinois, all right, the last battle was fought in Chicago by Chief Chicago. They was the last ones they got. When the Spanish came, they killed the ones in Ohio first, Indiana, Michigan, then they got Wisconsin, Minnesota. They got everything first. The last state to give in was the state of Illinois. All right, and that was Chief Chicago. And he was there fighting with the Peoria and a few more tribes that had scattered together because so many of us had been killed or captured, enslaved or whatever. So what really happened was, in that final battle, when they killed so many of us off, they set the whole Chicago ablaze to hide all those dead bodies, okay? They set the whole Chicago on fire to hide all those dead bodies, all right? And then they try to give us this story in school that about this whole big fire that broke out, and which is why the whole Chicago caught on fire and had to be rebuilt, because they had to rebuild Chicago. All right, Chicago looked totally different before 1871 in this fire. All right, and they had to rebuild it afterwards. But they rebuilt it over the bodies of all these dead Indians. And these Indians are us, okay? So this is where this ancient warrior spirit come from that's in Chicago, this plague in Chicago. And that warrior spirit is really for them to rise against the oppressors. But they got our people under black magic voodoo spells where they are using this ancient warrior energy to make them hurt each other. All right, and they are not just doing this in Chicago. They're doing this in every single state that's a part of this Illinois Confederacy. They know that you are ancient souls and spirits. Most souls and spirits go back to where they wanted to avenge themselves. So if you were a part of this Confederacy and you died in that and you came back to avenge it, you're going to come back in one of these states. All right, and the elites know this. And not just with this tribe. They do this down in Florida with the Florida Seminole tribe. They do this with all different type of tribes. But we just talk about the Illinois Confederacy right now. All right? A very powerful tribe. A very powerful tribe. A huge tribe. And them taking this realm, They couldn't have did it without defeating the Florida Seminoles and the Illinois. Those are two tribes that they had to get rid of. The Florida Seminoles, I'm doing a lecture on them next. They were one tribe by themselves, though. The Illinois were composed of 12 different tribes. And that's why all this energy is still here today in these states. That's why so much aggression and violence in these states, in this area. Old and these dots, some of y'all never knew. All of this was just one tribe, one nation of 12 tribes moving as one to fight off the Spanish who were trying to take our land. So this energy is still on us as a whole. This ain't just start now. They've been doing this to us before African slavery because they did this to us when we was Native American slaves, when they called us Native Americans. They was naming us Native Americans. We wasn't going for that shit. We was fighting. We was rebelling. That's why a lot of our ancestors died. So when you talking about ancestors, your ancestors were African slaves and your ancestors were Native Americans because that's what these oppressors named them. But you know, in reality, we was Anunnaki gods the whole time, though. All right? We just connecting dots. And this is karmic, and they have to pay for this karmic debt that they did to this. You know, they got to pay for this. This is what's going on the planet. And this is happening. Like I said, I'm going to be breaking this down all over. We just started with the Midwest right now. This was the Fighting Illini, Chief Chicago, Chief of Chiefs, one of the most vicious sect of native tribes that fended off these Spanish conquistadors. The Fighting Illini and the Florida Seminoles. And that's why to this day, they called them the Fighting Illini. That's what that really meant. Especially those who watch like college. You ever wonder why they called them that? That's where that name come from. Because they put up a hell of a fight before they finally took the land. And see, the oppressors, they don't understand magic and spell casting the way we do. If they did, they would have never named this land after us. Indiana and Illinois and Chicago and West Coast. Naming the name after these chiefs of these different tribes. You see what I'm saying? You can't do that. That energy gonna come back to bite you eventually, and that's what's going on right now. See what I'm saying? It's deeper than you think, Reflections. It's all connected. This is a war they will not win. This is an ancient war. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. It's an ancient war. This is an ancient war. This has been going on. This ain't new. Add this on top of everything they told you. You the Native Americans. And they sitting here showing you these people. That ain't how we look. You looking at us right now. This is how we look. You want to know how the Indians look? Let me remind you. Let me show you. There you go. You want to see how Indian look? You're looking at one. There you go. Don't I look like you? And I can really say, like, my great-grandma is full-blooded Cherokee. And I'm pretty sure your great-grandma was full-blooded something, too. And your great-grandma, all right. So what does that tell you? How you had 3 generations ago, your grandmama was full-blooded Cherokee, my grandmama was full-blooded whatever, and now we African-Americans. What does that tell you? You see what I'm saying? We just picked up a different name. It get deep, man. And it's deeper than that because they slaughtered us. So that energy is still here. And then they built cities over us. Understand? They built the whole city over us. Killed the chief of our whole tribe. Killed our whole tribe off. The whole confederation off. Renamed the land Michigan and all these different cities and states. Then made the main city Chicago. The biggest city in the Midwest is Chicago. And then you built the whole city over where you killed him at in the last of the Peoria tribe. And make that downtown, like where all of downtown Chicago at, them was all dead bodies. It was so many dead bodies right there. And they built a whole downtown Chicago over there. And named it Chicago. You could have named it anything. But they lack a soul and they ain't creative. So they still want to name it after. Make a whole team called the Chicago Blackhawks, been making billions off the name. That's the name of the hockey team, Chicago Blackhawks. Blackhawk was the actual chief, and so was Chicago. He was the chief of the whole Illinois Confederacy. We talking 12 states. Gangsters. They was gangsters. You seen the post I put up with Kills in Water. Come on now. They was gangsters, man. Y'all, man, how we was coming, man. Come on now. Come on now. How we was coming now. So it's nothing to fear. You got to remember, man, they took everything from us, man. They took everything from us. So what does this say? This is a real poster. And what was he wanted for? Wanted by the U.S. government for the murder of an entire military outpost. Yeah. This was the Illinois. Left hand bull. You see them names on there? Left hand, look. These names. Left hand bull, Swift Hawk, Blind Man, Kills in Sight. These are our ancestors. These are different names that they gave our ancestors because of how we was killing their ass. You get what I'm saying? If you was good at killing in water, that's what you was named. Remember, the Florida Seminoles was using alligators. All right? Redbird and burn. We was using little elk. He was using elks. You see what I'm saying? We was using animals, everything. We was using the whole forest still. We was still in tune back then. Walking eagle. Why didn't they call them that? Because they was using this stuff. You know, like they was using stuff. Like, listen, man, we been using, man. Look, our roots run so deep. Our roots run so deep, man. You hear me? We wasn't playing. Your ancestors didn't fuck around about this freedom shit. And this was all behind them trying to take our land. Yes, they wanted by the U.S. government before. Why did he do that? Because they was trying to take our land. They was raping the same shit they own. This is about this war. They was trying to prevent what ended up happening. Their kids, us coming up in this. Facts. Better remember who you is, man. You feel me? And remember Chief Chicago and the fight in the line, how they gave it up. Remember the Florida Seminoles, how they gave it up. Them y'all ancestors too. When you needing that courage and that inspiration to remember how we move. When the cause right and it's justice, like right now, we don't want to go to war, but they ain't gonna give us nothing back. They not just gonna give it back to us. You think they gonna just give it back to us? Look at this, y'all. They didn't forget that. Wanted by the U.S. government for the murder of an entire military outpost. You talking 50 to 60 to maybe 100 men, armed men. One God did that. One by himself. Come on, they didn't forget that. The oppressors didn't forget this type of shit. They ain't giving us nothing back. Why you think they gonna give us back? They had to work hard to get it. Our ancestors ain't make it easy. Hold on. We ain't make it easy. We ain't just give it up. That's what I'm saying. They hide all these stories to keep the rebel spirit down. It's already in you to rise. So to keep it down, you know what I'm saying? They try to hide that type of shit. But right now they kidnapping our babies, killing our kids. How is we supposed to react? Making us pay for everything. We got to go work for shit. This is our land. Okay, we don't want to war for it. Can we just get it back? But they ain't going to just give it back. So what does that mean? Okay, we've already marched. Our ancestors ain't marched, man. Come on, man. That's why they hide that. They don't want you to remember. They don't want you to know, hey, you the end. They don't want you. That's too much more pain on top of pain. So you're like, hold on. Now, when you found out you're the Indian, so you're like, hold on. So first off, we was the Indians first. You telling me you telling me we was the Indians first. And then they enslaved us and got us in physical shackles. And when they finally physical shackled us, then they renamed us. We became African-American slaves. And then after they freed us, they divided us into African-Americans and Latin Americans. We became Puerto Ricans and everything else. And black people. So, yes, that's what happened. Yes. Yes. Yes, nigga. So then you really be like, oh, this is my land. Fight. Like, you know this your land if you know you the Indians. You're like, damn, hold on. The Indians was already here. Oh, damn, we the Indians? Yes. And before you were Indians, you was just gods. You became Indians after you fell in frequency. It's been a long time coming, Reflections. You got to remember who you are, man. This is an ancient war. This is ancient energies here. All right, so when you talk about Chicago, why it's so violent, and why Detroit, these places so violent, and they produce a lot of, like outspoken, like me, I'm outspoken. because of that warrior ancient energies. You get what I'm saying? Ancient energies that's there, so they transpire through avatars. And the oppressors notice it's not just in the Midwest. This is East Coast. Well, this is all over the fucking planet. We just focusing on this tribe right now. That's not including, like I say, you go deeper than that. The original fathers in you. A lot of land, man, and they hid it. They hid it. Whole Chicago fire, man. And it's sad because I remember them teaching us this bullshit story in school when I grew up in Chicago about the Great Chicago Fire. They didn't tell us that they set our fucking ancestors on fire.